whatever you are using. You can pay for Amazon RDS using on-demand or reserve instance. So it's somewhat, even for RDS to use, so RDS runs on EC2 instance, and depending on what instance you're gonna pick, like on-demand or reserve, so that's how you'll get charged. Again, number of DB instance or database instance running, you'll be charged according to that. If you're making, like if there are backups, if you select to do backups and all, then again, in order to store as a backup, you need to store the backup somewhere, right? So you'll get charged for that. And data transfer. So inbound data transfer is completely free. Like if data is coming to Amazon, it's free. And if there is an outbound data, outbound data, you'll get charged for it. So for exam, you'll be only asked the questions on the theory. There will be, I just wanted to show you the console, like how it looks like for RDS. We're not gonna do real hands-on for RDS because that's not in the scope of CCP exam. It's more of a solution architect or even a specialty type of thing. So as far as CCP exam is concerned, the theory I just explained you earlier, that's enough. So let's go back here and see, is it getting terminated yet or not? Oops, logged out. It's still running. It might still taking time. So meantime, we'll open the RDS. Gonna go to services, then database here. You're gonna pick RDS. And you see here, you create a database. And you see there are different engine options to pick from. You can pick Microsoft SQL, Oracle, MariaDB, MySQL, Amazon Aurora, and there are different options like what version of engine like you're gonna use and all those other things. So you can just go through it. If you're interested, you can just see like what are the different options and how it look like. But as far as the CCP exam is concerned, you'll not be asked to do any hands-on. You see here, we can choose the instance size, like what type of instance we want. And depending on that, what type of instance we use, will get charged. You can pick your VPC here, in which VPC you wanna deploy your database instance. Yeah, so I will say, if you already created your account, free tier account, just go in there and you can even create your own database there and later delete it if you're not gonna use it, because it's like you'll not get charged until you use it. And even with free tier, you might have some tier up to which you can use it for free. So if you're familiar with database, or even if you're not familiar, just go through the steps and try to deploy one if you're interested. Okay, let's go back here and see, is it kicking yet or not? It's still running. Okay, let's go back to our presentation. Okay. So let's talk about Elastic Beanstalk. This is also one of the cool services from AWS. So what is Elastic Beanstalk or EBS? So Elastic Beanstalk is an easy to use service for deploying and scaling web applications, and service developed with Java, .NET, PHP, Node.js, Python, Ruby, Go, Docker, and on familiar servers such as Apache, Passenger, and IIS, Microsoft IIS. You can simply upload your code, and Elastic Beanstalk automatically handles the deployment from capacity provisioning, load balancing, auto scaling to application health monitoring. So what does that mean? So all you need is just a code, upload your code, whatever language it's developed in, let's say Java, .NET, PHP, whatever, and you just upload that code to Elastic Beanstalk. And then Elastic Beanstalk from that code will figure out, hey, so in order for your code to run or your application to run, we need, let's say we need 4 EC2 instance. Then we need two databases. We need one load balancer and all that. So Elastic Beanstalk will do that job. So developer don't have to worry about like which instance to pick. Do I need T2 micro, or like I need a compute optimized, or I need a GPU optimized? So Elastic Beanstalk will just take care of that. And at the same time you retain, so Elastic Beanstalk is just giving you whole infrastructure using your code, and at the same time you retain full control over the AWS resources powering your application and can access the underlying resource at any time. So how cool is that? You just upload your code, it will deploy everything for you. There is no additional charge for Elastic Beanstalk. You just pay only for AWS resource needed to store and run your application. So if you want to use Elastic Beanstalk, there is no charge for it. But once you upload your code, and then Elastic Beanstalk will deploy some servers or instances for you, and you'll get charged for that. So let me give you EBS demo again. Let's see if time permits, I can give a little extra of a demo, but as far as exam is concerned, we are not interested in EBS demo. So let's go back here, services. So under compute, you'll see Elastic Beanstalk. Get started. Okay, so I think we have, let me see how much I plan for today. Yeah, I think we can do it. So let's check back here. Is it terminating yet or not? Let's see. Okay, it should. Okay, so give it a name like CCP demo EBS name. And so see, it's asking us like in which platform your code is, or so we can just pick anything we want. Let's say Tomcat or PHP, whatever. And it's giving us two options like upload your code or sample application. So with sample application means what? So for with PHP platform, it has some sample application, and with that it will just give you some, let's say with the basic configuration, it will give you according to that few EC2 instance, few database instance, and all that. So we don't have our code here right now, so we can just use sample application. Let's see if we tick here, what option it gives us. So see, you can pick a local file, or you can pick it from the public S3 URL. All right, so let's go back here. Okay, and let's see, create application. Let's see here. Still running. Okay, I should have reduced the timers. Okay, So it's creating our environment. Did I just cancel it? Oh, my bad. Okay, let's do it again. If you don't get this, you don't need to worry. For your exam, you'll not be asked for it. Oh, look like, then where did it go? I thought, let's go to EBS. Okay, there you go. It's still in pending state. It's starting. Okay, there you see now our CCP demo, EC2, one of the EC2 instance is now getting terminated. And you'll see there is a third one now popped up. That is what? You see the name CCP demo EBS environment. So that in our EBS demo, we deployed, like, we wanted to deploy an environment for PHP application. So that's how this EC2 instance is coming from, the new one. And our auto scaling policy is kicked in as we define that we can run fine even with one server. That's how it's terminating the second EC2 instance. Okay, it's still, so in the background, what it's doing is it's deploying an EC2 instance, maybe a database instance, creating security groups and VPC and all that thing. So it might take a little while. Okay. So let it give its own time and we'll come back here again. Everyone got the auto scaling? Auto scaling is really important, not just for exam, but even for if you decided to have your career in AWS, you'll be using auto scaling a lot. So make sure your concept for auto scaling, they're clear. Okay, let's go to next. All right, the next thing is AWS Lambda. So Lambda is is a serverless service, which means it doesn't need any server to run. So AWS Lambda lets you run your code without provisioning or managing servers. You pay for the compute time you consume. With Lambda, you can run your code for virtually any type of application or backend service, all with zero administration. So just upload your code and Lambda takes care of everything required to run and scale your code with high availability. You can scale up to your code automatically and trigger from another AWS services or call it directly from any or mobile app. So Lambda is kind of a serverless, it's a serverless service. And you just trigger that service using your code and it will then run, and it might run an website, or it can do some API calls for you. So all you need to know for Lambda is very big, it's very really vast, and so all you need to know for now, or as far as exam is concerned, it's like it's a serverless service, which means it doesn't need any server to run. And on this website, let me see, you can go, I'll post it in our Facebook group, that how you can create a serverless web application using Lambda. It will be a really good exercise. I don't know how much you'll get it or how much your understanding of APIs and all that, but for Lambda, you just invoke Lambda by using your code, and the Lambda will run. And you'll be charged like number of times it runs. So, okay, there is a slide for it. So AWS Lambda pricing, you pay only for a compute time you consume. There is no charge when your code is not running. You are charged based on the number of requests for your functions and the time it takes for your code to execute. All right, so let's go back and see if our EBS is done. This is okay. This is okay. There you go. You see they created this is our PHP web application running. So this is the default page because we chose the sample application, and that's what it gives you. And later you can just trick around with that sample file, like sample application, and you can make your own. And let me show you something else here. Configuration. Like in order to run it, so see what it did. So let's see here, EC2 instances. So it created EC2 groups, then we use the IOPS, instance type, then the storage, then you see what AMI it used, the T2 micro, and load balancer, it says this configuration doesn't need any load balancer. This is the key for your EC2 instance, and for monitoring it already set the CloudWatch alarms and all that. So the basic idea is you just let it know, the Beanstalk, that my application is going to run on Java, PHP, or whatever, and you give it the code or use a sample application, and in the background let's say it will deploy an EC2 instance for you, it will create a database for you, and so on. And like I show you the website, like how, see that sample website, it just read, this is the URL for that application, and your web application on PHP is running. Hope everyone got that. So let me just delete it because I'm not gonna need it now. Terminate the environment. So once I terminate the environment from here, that EC2 instance that it deployed, it will get terminated automatically. This is just extra stuff I'm showing you. It's not related to your CCP exam, but it's good to know all those things because eventually you need to learn it. So let's go back and see, it might start terminating soon. See, shutting down. All right, so let's go back to our, okay. The next thing is AWS CloudFormation. This is also one of the cool services of AWS. So what CloudFormation does exactly? So AWS CloudFormation allows you to model your entire infrastructure and application resources with either a text file or a programming language. You don't need to create or configure the resources and figure out what's dependent on what. CloudFormation takes care of it. It's nothing but all your infrastructure in a code. So with CloudFormation, so let me give you the demo and it will be easier for you to understand. Services here. The CloudFormation is under management and governance. So basically over here, you use a template to create your whole infrastructure. Create a stack. So either you can see, you already have a template. When I said like your text file or that code, you make a template. In that template, you specify what you need, like what database you need, what EC2 instance you need. You upload that template and it's ready. Or you can use a sample template. So with the sample template, which means there are some already samples out there which you can just use as is. For example, you see here, you must have heard of WordPress. So there is an WordPress blog template already available. So you can just pick that WordPress template and next, and with after just few clicks, your own WordPress blog will be ready. And you can just start blogging there. Or you can create your own template. So, and Amazon gives you a designer to do it. So this demo is again not needed for the exam. So for example, here you can just pick what you need from, like here are all the resources. So for example, I need, let's say, an instance, an EC2 instance. Oops. What to start building your template, drag resources from, that's what I'm doing. Okay, there you go. So see, I drag an EC2 instance, then let's see, I need a security group for that instance. Then I need a VPC. And in that VPC, I'm gonna put, so let me make it bigger. Okay, so in that VPC, I'm gonna put, oh, let's see, then I need, you just pick any, for example, we're not gonna go into detail, like this is another service I need. Then I need configuring IAM and all that. So basically you just drag whatever you want here, and then it will create a file for you. And then you can just save it for your future purposes and all that. So here you can just create, like the name says, you can form your cloud, like your own private cloud inside the public cloud. Or using the existing template, like I told you here, you can just use, for at least for your hands-on demo at home, you can just use some sample template. Let's say we use for WordPress blog, and let's see next. We are running out of time, but we can, let's see. I'll just go with the default. It's asking me to set password. I'll just use, I'm not sure how long that will take, but let's try. I'll just go the defaults. I think default. Next. Okay, stack name. No space required. Everything fine. Let's hit next. Everything looks good. I'll just hit OK. Create. It says create in progress. So this will be for our WordPress blog. This will be the link. From here we can access it. This is still not up. No, not that. Sorry. Should be under outputs. here. So it's still running, so give it some time. What happened? Okay, for some reason, key name does not exist. All right. I'm not sure what happened there, but okay. It's not a part of, anyway, it's not even part of your CCP exam as well as not even an associate exam. This will be asked. Whole purpose is to show you like how you can do it. So let's go back here. Let's create a stack. So you can use your own template, which is ready. You can use some sample templates given by the AWS, or you can create your template in the designer. All right, so next, let's go back to the, okay. Another next important thing is the cost calculator. So you want to calculate the cost ahead in time, or just you want to see like before deploying something, you want to run some numbers and see like this is how much it's going to cost you. And then you can present those numbers to your IT department or whatever, and to give them idea like, hey, this much money is going to cost you. So there are these two different tools given by Amazon, so which you can use. So let me give you a quick demo of that. Here from, we can go to cost calculator. There you go. Let me close the other things. It's loading that. It's taking two. Let's go to home. Go to Cost Explorer. Meantime, I don't know why this is too slow. In meantime, we can check this here. So in the monthly calculator, so you can just first you're gonna pick your region. So in which region you're gonna deploy your infrastructure. So for example, right now we are in North Virginia, so we'll pick that. Then it will ask you like what you're gonna need. So for example, let's say I need an EC2 instance. So add like, you can give it a name something, and you see here there are different types. You can pick, let's say I want this one. So then say, give it some name like web server. And it's asking you like which one you want, like on demand or contract and all that. So I'll just stick with on demand. So you see here your estimated monthly cost. Now you see earlier it was 0 and now it's giving an estimate. It will cost you roughly around $3,200 because we chose with the high power. So if we just choose the T2 micro that we always use, it will be much less. T2 micro. There you go. You see here monthly cost $8.50. Then you just add host, and basically you keep on adding what you need. and then it will give you a monthly estimate, like how much money you're looking at to deploy your infrastructure. It's just a simple tool. That one here is not working. Anyway, again, the cost, this cost calculator is somewhat similar to the monthly calculator, where you pick your service and then you decide, same thing, same deal, like you decide what type of instance you want, which AMI image you're gonna use and all that. So which are you gonna use, application load balancer or the classic or network and all that. You pick all your services. It's kind of a simulation, and it will give you the estimated cost for your deployment. So let's go back to our presentation. Okay, this is also one of the cool service from AWS, that AWS Trusted Advisor. It helps you to reduce the cost, increase the performance, and improve the security. So AWS Trusted Advisor is an online tool that provides you real-time guidance to help you to provision your resources following AWS best practices. Whether establishing new workflows, developing application, or as part of ongoing improvement, take advantage of the recommendation provided by Trusted Advisor on regular basis to help keep your solution provision optimally. So as the name says, Trusted Advisor, it will tell you, so it will scan through all your infrastructure and it will tell you what are the vulnerabilities with your infrastructure, like what things you're not complying with the best practices. It will give you its suggestions, like, hey, for example, your security group is basically allowing everything to your EC2 instance. That's not right. It will kind of give you a warning, or it will say like, hey, look like there is a single point of failure in infrastructure. For example, if something, that particular server goes down, your whole infrastructure will go down. So like that, it will basically scan through your infrastructure and it will give you some suggestions. For example, it will, for IAM roles, it will tell you like you're giving too much of a permissions, or you're using you should use roles instead of users, or you should use user instead of roles, like that. So let me give you a quick demo of Trusted Advisor. You'll have questions in your exam on Trusted Advisor. So under management and governance, you see Trusted Advisor. Okay, see like how it gives green, or if there are some if there are some things we are not following by Amazon best practices, then it will give us those either green or red warnings. So there are mainly 5 pillars of the Trusted Advisor: cost optimization, performance, security, fault tolerance, and service limits. So with cost optimization, you might be using some extra instances, and without configuring auto scaling, then it will tell you like, hey, your most of the time your EC2 instances are sitting idle. Why don't you uh, deploy an auto scaling policy, or like that? So basically it will give you some suggestions depending on, so or, to be to give you some easier example, if you play online games, or let's think of solitaire. So when you're playing solitaire and if you're stuck at something, how that game gives you some hints, like how you can do the next step. So this is kind of similar. It will give you hints, or it will give you that advice, hey, your instant, for example, you should do this, that way your cost to running your infrastructure will go down significantly. Or second, the main pillar is performance. It will tell you, look like, for example, it will tell you, hey, look like you're using T2 micro instance, and that's why your performance is not good. You should bump up your instance to higher level. like that. Or it will tell you, instead of using the CPU optimized instance, you should use a memory optimized instance, like that. So with security, it will tell you that how's your, like how your ACLs or security groups, are they configured correctly, or are there any loopholes that way, like hacking can be done, like unwanted access can be given to the unwanted person, like that. Fault tolerance, it will tell you like you should, this is how you should do your uh, deployment. Like I told you, if there is a single point of failure, it will tell you like that. And service limit, so not all these services are free. So if I click here, so see it's locked. So we need to update our support plan to get access to this feature. So in the exam, you'll be asked like, what are free services with which plan? So you see performance is also locked. So basically, if you want that, you have to upgrade your support plan. So security is, you see, it's good. So it comes with the basic plan. So you can use that feature. Then go back to fault tolerance, same thing, it's locked. And service limits, yeah, it's free with your basic plan. So that's all about the trusted advisor. It will tell you all those recommended action, and you take care of those. Like if there is something red, it will tell the details, and you can just fix those from there. Okay, so next important thing is the AWS support plans. Again, you'll have a few questions in your exam about the AWS support plan. So let's go on that website, and from there we can just compare those. I'll just Google it, AWS. There you go. So there are basically 3 paid plans: developer, business, and enterprise. Let me make it, let me zoom a little bit. Okay, hope that's good now. And it will, from this table, you can see like what's covered in which plan. So enterprise is enterprise is the most costlier plan, then business, and then the developer. And so the AWS trusted advisor best practice checks. So with enterprise, you get full sets of checks, and for developer and business, there are limited. For developer, is limited to 7 core, and for business, again full set. Enhanced technical support. So for developer, you get email access to support team and unlimited cases, and you'll get one primary contact with the tech support or cloud support. So for business, you'll get 24/7 phone, email, and chat access. For developer, it's just email access. Okay. And same thing with enterprise, you get full access, like 24/7 email, chat, and all that. So no change here for business and enterprise, and only difference is with developer. Case severity and response time. So general, for any general guidance, less than 24 business hours. If your system is impaired, which means it's not working, then less than 12 hours, they have to reply you. The cloud support team from Amazon should reply you back within 12 business hours if your system is impaired. So for business and enterprise, general guidance, same, less than 24 hours, system impaired, less than 12 hours, production system impaired, less than 4 hours. Same thing here, production system down. Impaired means it's kind of working, but not the way it's supposed to. And production system down, which means it's completely down, nothing is working. So they have to reply within an hour. And same thing here. And another thing you see here, business critical system down, then they have to get back to you within 15 minutes. Architecture guidance. So for developer plan, they'll just give you general guidance. For business plan, they will give you contextual to your use cases. And for enterprise, it will be consultative review and guidance based on your application. So you'll get most of the support, like they will give you consultation on your infrastructure. Then you'll get the AWS support API with business and enterprise, but not with developer. Third-party software support, nothing with developer. Same thing with business and enterprise. So you'll have at least 3 to 4 questions on this plan in your AWS exam. So whenever you study for it, just make sure you go through it clearly. You'll get a dedicated program account manager with the enterprise, but with your business, you will not get. So there will be one question for sure about this, with which plan you get the technical account manager, and that's enterprise. And there are a few other things you see the pricing greater than 15,000, greater of like 100 a month and 39 a month. See the difference? So you can go into all those details whenever you study for the exam. All right, so let's go back to our slides. AWS security. So this is again a major topic. So like how security is handled in AWS. So AWS security and compliance is a shared responsibility of both AWS and a customer. So it's not like AWS is responsible for all security. It's like a shared responsibility, which is between AWS and the customer. So the differentiation of this responsibility is also known as security of the cloud and versus the security in the cloud. So security of the cloud, so AWS is responsible for that, and security in the cloud, the customer is responsible for that. You will have again 2 to 3 questions in your exam on this model, so pay close attention to it. So you see that bottom orange part, that's what AWS is responsible for, and the top part is the customer is responsible for what. So let's look into detail like what AWS is responsible for. So we'll go from bottom up. So you see hardware, AWS global infrastructure. So anything related to hardware, AWS is responsible for that because they are the one, they are managing those data centers or AZs and the servers in that. So you see the regions, ability zone, edge locations. So if any of those goes down or they are a breach in terms of security and all, so AWS is responsible for that. So for example, if any of the AWS employee gets an fraudulent access to one of their data center and vandalize the servers or steal the hard disks and all that, so AWS is responsible for that, not the customer. Software like compute, storage, database, networking. So all those hardware running, they need the hypervisor to run all the EC2 instance and all that. So that software, AWS is responsible for that. Okay, now the customer responsibility is like client-side data encryption and data integrity, server-side encryption, file system and data, networking, traffic protection, encryption, and so someone might say like, how come networking? Because that's like an AWS thing look like. But if so AWS is responsible for connectivity, and if the customer didn't configure the security groups or the access list, like didn't configure it correctly, and then hacker can get in, because AWS just making sure you have enough bandwidth, you're getting network connectivity and all that. But if the customer didn't configure the access, the ACLs or security group correctly, then just any hacker can come in and get access to customers' data. So in that case, customer will be responsible for that, not the AWS. So operating system, network, and firewall configuration. So we already talked about that, the network, firewall configuration. So what is operating system? So what that AMI image we use, so the updating of those AMI images, patching those if there are any security fixes. So if you remember, I told you whenever you deploy an EC2 instance, make sure, and if you plan to use it, make sure you update it first, because there will be some security fixes with those updates. Then configuring the identity access management, like who can access what, and customer data. So for example, you have customer have their data in AWS, they don't create any backup or replication, and so accidentally they delete it, then AWS is not responsible for that. It will be the customer who will be responsible for it. Hope that's clear. I think that's enough for today. We should stop here. Any questions, or hope everything is clear to you? And so there are a few topics left which we will cover tomorrow, and mostly theoretical topics regarding security. Security is like the last topic we are done, like left with. And like I told you in the beginning that whoever attended this boot camp for at least 5 days will get a certificate from us. And if you have any questions, just let me know, either in Facebook group or post it here in question. Okay, I don't see any questions under question and answer, like Q&A tab. So that should be it. Then see you tomorrow.
Okay, Mukesh, thank you. Bye bye. See you tomorrow.